Intimacy, connection, and sex. Today we're discussing a topic that's at the core of every relationship. A lot of couples struggle with keeping that spark alive, and sometimes life and BS just gets in the way.
Today, let's talk about intimacy, connection, and sex.
Welcome to Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. This power couple is building stronger marriages one day at a time. Talking about real issues on love, relationships, and marriage longevity. Let's break down the barriers and engage in healthy conversation with your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie. Take a seat and buckle up because things are about to get real.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to another episode of Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. We're your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie.
That's me.
Hey, and we are here to inspire and empower individuals with actionable strategies and insights for developing meaningful and fulfilling relationships using universal principles, effective communication, and mindset shifts.
All right, we use the Manifest Method framework to help individuals create and develop the type of relationship they want. What is the Manifest Method? Glad you asked. Helping people take their relationship off cruise control. Using the Manifest framework: mindset, awareness, nurture, intention, focus, empower, strengthen, and transform. So before we get into tonight's episode, if you haven't grabbed the book, Manifest a Joy-Filled Relationship,
The book.
we want to ask you one question. What are you waiting for? You can't manifest if you don't know what you're doing wrong or what you need to do more of. So go and grab it today and tell a friend or two or three or four.
Just tell someone.
Go to manifestajoyfilledrelationship.com to get your copy.
Start transforming yourself and your relationship today.
Intimacy isn't just physical. It's an energy exchange.
Okay.
So when you align with the right energy, right, you naturally attract deeper connection and intimacy.
For most people, most people think that intimacy is, means sex.
I know a person who thinks that.
Well.
I know a person that when I asked
I
them
can't
that,
confirm nor deny that statement.
I didn't say you.
I know you
I
did.
just said
I just
I know
said
a
I
person.
can't. Yeah, I can't confirm or deny that. But that's what's just one part of it. The real intimacy is about emotional, mental, and even spiritual connection.
That's right. So since we're talking about intimacy isn't sex, let me tell you about Jason and how when I first mentioned intimacy to him, he misunderstood everything that I needed. All right. So,
or maybe you just didn't explain it the way that I needed it to be explained.
So when I was telling him I need intimacy, right? What you get in the bed, I need outside of the bed. So I was trying to explain to him what intimacy meant. For me, it wasn't sex. It wasn't having sex. It wasn't the act of sex. It was the sex before the physical act. It was as we talk about, the mental, the spiritual, the connection. So I need my love language, in case my husband may have forgotten, which I'm sure he hasn't.
I haven't.
Is physical touch.
Right.
So.
And which can be interpreted as a sexual advancement.
Exactly. For him, intimate touch means I want to have sex.
Right.
And
it's a prerequisite. That's what you do before.
No, physical touch for me means that if we're sitting still, or if you're walking past, and that means touch me, hold my hand, hold me close, rub on my back, touch, like I need touch. That's how I feel as though I'm loved. And so I was expressing this to him, but as he just stated, he interpreted that as I wanted to have sex.
Down the road. Exactly.
So,
moving on down the road.
And so when I explained to him that intimacy to me, or connection and intimacy was when I'm outside of the bed, I need to feel
Love.
engaged,
I got you.
right? So
Yeah,
I was
I
explaining that to
understand.
him. And so the conversation, what I realized is that as he and I were talking more, there was a communication gap.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took us into this conversation about comprehension.
Right. I don't think it was a miscommunication gap. I think it was a comprehension
Okay.
problem, right?
Right.
I heard what you were saying. I thought I understood it. Well, I did understand it to my own level of understanding.
Right, which
Right. So-
which is a great point. So when we're
Right.
talking about having effective communication, you can be saying exactly what you want to your partner, but they may not be interpreting it exactly the way you're saying it, which means
Exactly.
that you have to then get to a point of understanding, how does my mate actually comprehend? How do we communicate in a way where I understand his communication language and he
Right.
understands mine? And so we were talking about comprehension. And I was like,
Mhm.
wow, that's like so deep. If you think back to when we were younger and we took comprehension tests, right?
Right.
You were supposed to read a passage and then answer the
Comprehend it,
questions
right.
according to your comprehension. And I'm like, I wonder who makes up these tests, because when they test you on comprehension, you can actually understand what's being said in the story and actually read it
Mhm.
and comprehend.
Right.
But they may ask you a question like, who was the main character? So in your mind, you may think some different.
Whoever you related to.
Exactly, who you related to.
Right.
Which means that your comprehension isn't off. It's just according to your level of understanding.
Right.
Right. When we're talking about, even when we're talking about standardized tests, and this is all related to us and what is our experiences. What have we come to the relationship with? How
Mhm.
were we raised?
Yep.
What did your family do as opposed to what my family did, right? There's so many different scenarios. And so you may have a first grader and it says, circle the cow, right? But the first grader looks at the picture and says, we don't like cows. We like pigs. So he circles the pig. It doesn't mean that he doesn't understand. His level of understanding is, I'm going to do what I like. So with Jason, when I explained to him what intimacy was, or when I brought the conversation about intimacy, he was like, yeah, it's sex.
Right. That's
And
what I thought. But you wanted more touch. I figured we was going to have more sex.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So when we're talking about intimacy and connection,
Right.
we have to make sure that what we are expressing is actually being heard.
All right. Go ahead.
Dennis saying, oh my gosh, my past 2 relationships mentioned we need intimacy in our relationship. My thinking was always in the bedroom. I definitely needed some guidance.
Okay. Hey,
So-
Dennis, I'm going to tell you, I thought the same thing, brother. And then you're going to add touch onto it? Come on now.
And so, exactly. And then what we don't do
Mm-hmm.
is we don't sit and have a deeper conversation. We don't ask the question, what does that mean? Go deeper, right?
But here's the thing. Why would I need to go deeper when I thought I understood what you were saying?
but
That's the thing.
right, that understanding.
Right.
That's when we talk about, when we do the back and forth talk, when we're talking about the techniques
Right.
of speak and repeat. That's where you're repeating back to your partner, well, what exactly do you mean? Right.
Exactly.
And I didn't know at that time that Jason completely missed the mark. I really, honestly, in my level of understanding, I was like, okay, we had this
I think
conversation.
we were both confused.
Not confused, just difference of understanding.
Okay, yeah.
As
right.
Dennis
We were
said,
different
when
as well.
somebody says, I need more intimacy, the first thing you think is, when we get in the bedroom, I'm going to give it to you harder, quicker, stronger, because that's what men think. That's their role as
That's
a
our
man.
go-to. Right.
That's your go-to.
Right.
And so when
We
we're
have to be
talking,
manly.
I want, and all the time, intimacy doesn't even mean faster or harder. It can just mean spooning, right? For a woman, it depends on who is saying it. So if you and your partner find yourself disconnected emotionally,
Mhm.
that's going to show up in your physical intimacy. And so with
sure.
as Dennis said, or with me, that's what was happening. Our physical intimacy was fading, and I was trying to find a way to communicate that to my partner. But when we're talking about your level of understanding, what does that mean? So we should have asked, and this is one of our things, is the awe, right?
Mhm.
And what else?
Right.
So when I say, well, I need more intimacy, the question we should ask our partner is, and what else? That means that usually when you give someone
Now you
something,
get a
that's
deeper
that surface
understanding.
level, right?
Yep.
That's that surface level. Okay, yeah, I understand what you mean,
Right.
right?
Then you can explain we're having, intimate relations, but that's not what I'm looking for. Go ahead.
Got you. I thought the same thing in my younger years, Dennis, until I learned what intimacy really was, spooning. And then it's saying, exactly, Tina, I didn't understand the meaning of mental intimacy and emotional intimacy.
I know, right? I mean, that's a part of adulting right there.
And you know what? Even as adults, sometimes we still don't get it. We
I
miss
know,
the
I
mark
know.
unless we take the time to, as Lisa stated a couple of weeks back, figure out what is it that I want,
Right.
and then go self-development.
Mhm.
How do I effectively communicate that to my partner so that it doesn't end up in an argument
Right.
and it doesn't end up where we are now even more emotionally detached because they're upset because they said it and I didn't get it, right? So it's
The ball's being tossed and no one's catching it.
so when Jason, so you talking about we're just throwing it back. You know, it's funny because Jason and I were talking about, right, on a different podcast, how, you don't want to have to throw the ball and then run to the other end and catch it. That defeats the whole purpose of communication, right? So, but if you're not sure where to start, right,
Mm-hmm.
and where you need to get the ball rolling, connecting, we created this 20 questions,
20
right?
questions.
So we created a 20-question emotional intimacy questions.
Yes.
All right. So tell them about the 20 questions, Jay.
So yeah, we created the 20 questions. We mentioned this last week, and we're going to continually mention it because it is important because we need to start this dialogue among couples. Right? It's 20 emotional intimacy essential questions, so that you and your partner can become close, build greater connections. So you can grab it. It's a free download. It's at legendaryrelationship.com/EI
Flip. I'm sorry.
for emotional intimacy. So go over there and grab it. So, all right. So now, actually, I want to go back to the awe before
The awe, okay.
The awe, right?
Okay.
So the awe allows us to, and what else? It allows us to.
Aw. So
yeah,
when you
go
say,
there.
Jason, I need more intimacy, and then he'll say, aw, and I'll say, which means, and what else?
Right.
What else does that mean?
Right.
What else?
Because actually, what you're saying in the beginning isn't what you're trying to get out, right?
Right.
You're just saying the surface level stuff. I'm not happy. I want to be happy, but I don't know exactly how to tell you that. So the first thing I want to say is this. I need this. I need more intimacy. Well, I'm thinking I'm giving you more intimacy. So what else is it? I mean, like, what else aren't you getting from me?
Or when someone says we're not connected.
Right.
A person may say, well, we spend every day together. Like, we live in the same house.
Right.
Like, we're married. What do you mean we're not connected? And so it takes us where we have to do that self-improvement to understand what is emotional connection.
Right.
What is spiritual connection?
Ooh, yes.
Right? When we're talking about
Spiritual
my
is different
the
than
soul
religion.
connection.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So don't get it intermixed. All right. So actually, the energy in your relationship is filled with, if it is, filled with tension and resentment and stress,
Absolutely.
then the passion and intimacy will feel like it's a struggle, right? Because you're thinking that you're doing what you're supposed to in a relationship and you're not because the other person isn't receiving what you're giving out.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go a little bit deeper and ask, and what else? Then that way you can get to the deeper portion of what they're actually trying to say.
You know what? This reminds me. So in our book, we love to reference the book. And so if you guys have your book, come every Friday. I'm going to call it, come to the podcast every
Right,
Friday
with
with
your
your
book.
book.
Yes.
So I want everybody who's tuning in. And again, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget,
Yes.
if you're tuning in, put your names in the comments so we can shout you out. Thank you so much. Drop some hearts, drop some fires, drop some emoji, a smiley face, whatever it is.
Yep.
Right? Drop some whatever means sex signs in the comments. All right. 'Cause
All right.
that's what we're doing.
Give them some knowledge right quick, baby.
All right, so if we look at the law of vibration in the book and what Jason was talking about energy, it says the law of vibration, this law is the basis for understanding how your thoughts, feelings, and state of being contribute to the vibrational energy you emit. So what does that mean? So if Jason said if we're struggling and we're arguing and we're at each other's throats,
Yeah.
what type of energy are you emitting? So you may be craving, I need more love, but
Right.
you're actually sending out struggle, anxiety, stress,
Yep.
tension,
Yep.
build up.
Resentment. All of it. Yeah.
Exactly. And so when we're, especially with resentment,
Mhm.
resentment is one of those things that we hold in, right? And soon as something happens, we throw up all over the place because we're resenting the fact that our mate is not giving it to us
Mhm.
or is not doing something that we need done, and then we don't know how to express it, or we think we're effectively expressing it by
Sure.
being angry or talking about what they should or shouldn't do.
Right.
And
Yep.
then what happens is that the energy that we're vibrating is totally different than the energy that we want. So so what happens is that we start attracting more of what we're giving instead of what we actually want.
Yeah, and resentment is ugly when it comes back. It's ugly when you send it out, and when it comes back, it's even worse. So,
All right.
you want to get away from resentment.
Did we show our law of vibration?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Yes.
okay. So when we
Nothing.
Oh.
I'm just looking at you. Go ahead.
I thought you wanted to say something about the law of
Resentment or anything?
vibration.
Oh, no. I understand. It's the energy that we emit. I understand that.
So would you agree? So let's just talk about us
Mhm.
for a moment.
Okay.
Or
Let's talk about this for a moment.
let's talk about a friend of ours.
Oh, okay, cool. I like talking about our
Right?
friends.
So when we talk
Yep.
about a friend, it
Right.
takes us out of the equation.
Got you.
If I'm upset
Mm-hmm.
about something,
Yep.
right, but I'm really feeling neglected.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. Not me, my friend. I'm asking for a friend.
All right, hold on 1 second. Hold on. All right, go ahead.
So I love that you are using the book to teach,
And who's that from?
Sandra.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Sandra.
Well, that's
Thank
the whole.
you.
Well, hey, thank you, Sandra, for popping in. We appreciate it. And you know what? That's why we wrote the book, right?
Exactly.
This is a teaching thing. This is nothing that we just slap together. We actually use this, right? We're reading it. We're studying from it. We're going
And we
through it.
want you to do the same. And so
Yes.
if you, and actually, so on our podcast, if there's anything that you find that you have any questions about, please bring them on Friday. Please drop them in the comment on the replays. Make sure you guys go back and share the replay, listen to the replay, and then go back and look at those chapters. And if anyone has any questions about anything in the book, please make sure you reach out to us either through the comments or through info@legendaryrelationship.com. We want to make sure that in the beginning of this book, it says it's a practical guide.
Yep. That means you got to use
It's
it.
not theory. It's not.
No.
Not a
You got to
theoretical.
practice this stuff.
Exactly. We want you to take this book and say, "Hey, what am I missing? Right? What's really going on?" So, when we're talking about the vibration,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and I mean, Sandra, if I could use you. Oh, I was just talking about me.
Mhm.
Right? Oh, my friend.
Yeah.
So my
Your
friend.
friend wasn't Sandra, though.
No. My
Okay.
friend's not
All right.
Sandra.
Okay. It's
So
not
when-
Sandra.
Exactly. So what my friend says is that my husband doesn't give me the attention that I want. My
Okay.
husband, it's like his attention goes in every other place but to me.
Got you.
And then when we have our alone time, now I'm not talking about me.
I got you.
Okay.
That's fine.
I want people to
I
understand
have thick
it.
skin. Either way.
So we have a couple,
Right.
and the woman is saying, my husband doesn't give me attention.
Okay.
I tell him I want attention, I need attention. And so his version of attention is that we're at home together on a Friday night for 2 hours.
Okay.
That's his interpretation of.
That sounds a lot like me, but okay. But I mustn't know.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Because we definitely spend more than 2 hours together.
No, right?
But what she had to realize is that her yearning and resentment for not getting was
Mhm.
actually emanating resentful energy.
Right, but she wasn't always saying it, right? She would walk around being upset.
Exactly. The energy.
And
we're
the
just
energy she would have
exactly.
would be
We're just
unpleasant.
exactly.
Right.
So what her husband was in turn giving her was more of what she was sending out. And she
Mhm.
couldn't understand that.
Yep.
So when we're talking about understanding where is the intimacy, where is the connection, where is the sex, they're all connected by what we're thinking and feeling and then what we are actually attracting.
All right, go ahead.
Darlene saying this book is so very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene.
That
Welcome
means you
to
diving
the show.
into it. Thank you for popping in. We really appreciate it. Yes, if you use it, right? Someone said, books are great, especially if you read them, right? But here's the other part. You have to apply what you've learned.
Actually, so usually this is done when we're talking about getting the vibration. It's just done through nurturing.
Yeah.
And if you want to feel closer to your partner, you have to intentionally nurture your bond.
Yes.
And most people don't even understand what that word really means, right? We hear
Right,
that
no.
and how it relates to your relationship. Oh, and by the way, since we're talking about our book, this is one of the key points in our book, as well as the manifest framework.
Yep.
So the manifest, remember, M-A-N-I-F-E-S-T.
That's a tongue twister.
Right. The N in the manifest method is nurture.
Mhm.
We have to understand how to nurture our bond and our relationship. It's just like a plant, right? You wouldn't neglect your plant.
Yeah, you
So
shouldn't.
why would you neglect your relationship? And we don't understand. I know we always relate it to a car.
Right. You shouldn't
re-
neglect your car.
Your relationship is a car. It's a vehicle.
Yep.
It's a vehicle for love.
Yes.
And so when the tank is empty, and that would be your love tank,
Mm-hmm.
you have to fill it up. You cannot fill up your gas tank one time and it's going to last you the entire time that you have your conference. I said conference. The entire time you have your marriage, right?
Well, some people run like a business, so it could be a conference to some people.
So we have to understand the love tank has to be constantly refilled.
There you go.
You
Come
have
on.
to find someone. When we're getting into these relationships, let's start having different conversations.
Mhm.
When we're in our current relationship, let's find out what is required to maintain the love tank.
All right, go ahead.
Dennis saying this book is very informative and a great source of knowledge. Each person and couple is different, but overall, you guys cover a wide range of different topics and real life stories, experiences. Dot saying it works if you work it.
That's
Come
right.
on
Thank
now.
you,
Yeah,
Dennis. Thank you, Dot.
Thank
That's
you
right.
so much.
But what is the it?
Yeah.
So this is where we have to be careful because a lot of couples have been working the it at the end of the sh.
Mm.
And
So if you got the and you're working the it of it,
right.
you can be messed up.
So we have to make sure when we're talking about nurturing, what does
Yeah.
that mean? When we're talking about vibration, what does that mean? We want to work the right stuff. So that's where we have to have different conversations.
Right.
What is it that our relationship needs? As Dennis said, there's no one size fits all. We always say this in relationships. But when we have the conversations, not necessarily what is your past, what was your ex-girlfriend, who was your ex-boyfriend, those subjects are not really important.
No.
What's important is how are you coming to this relationship?
Yeah.
Are you hurt? Where, what
What are your vulnerabilities? Are you hurt?
are you able to express
Yeah.
what it is that what hurt you and how to be open and expressive and vulnerable so that in this relationship we can unpack the things that maybe we don't need to carry around anymore, right? We had the conversation about carrying around a backpack full of old stuff. Let's leave the past in the past. What we want to focus on is it works if you work it. We're going to work the manifest keys that make sense to everyone.
So the it. So you got to be careful of the it.
Did we have a comment?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just we have to make sure we work in the right it, right?
That's
so
right.
you have to find out what your it is, right?
And you have to be able to express that to your partner, right?
Exactly.
As
First,
Jason-
first you have to find
as
your
you-
it.
Right.
Right.
So, you have. Let's just say it. We need to know what it is we want, and
Right.
we have to recognize what's hurting us.
Right.
Because what we'll do is that it'll be a trigger,
Mm-hmm.
and we find ourselves upset, but it's not really upset from the person who we're with.
No.
It's
Right.
a trigger from the past that, hey, my old boyfriend or girlfriend did this, or my old husband or wife did this, or even your current husband or wife. This is what you did in the past, and now we're still here. Instead of, hey, we've dealt with that, we've talked through it, we've had a conversation. At what point does it become resolved and then no longer a part of our relationship? That's where we
when
have
you
to
stop
understand.
sweeping it under the rug, and you feel like if you sweep it under the rug and not talk about it, that it's repaired. No, it's not. It's not forgotten. You can push it in the back of your mind, but I can guarantee you it's going to come to the forefront again. Soon as something comes up or you get triggered, it's going to come right up and right out.
Right. So when we're talking about making sure that we're having a different mindset.
Mhm.
We are aware of what we're doing, not
Yep.
necessarily our partner. So we're talking about the manifest. We have to have a different mindset. We have to be aware, and then the nurture. And so let's give some tips, Jason, and how when we're talking about nurturing, like what does that really mean? What does that mean to you?
What it means to me is like you have to prioritize your time, right? And we talk about being in the same space, but still not together.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
Right.
so being able to communicate openly, with your feelings, and this is tough, especially for men. I'm just gonna kind of throw the men out there for a second.
True.
We don't do a good job of expressing our needs or our vulnerabilities. We're not open with the things that really bother us, right? So we have to become better. I mean, like if this is your partner, this is your wife, this is the person that you said that I'm going to do life with, then you have to be able to open up to them, right? You have to trust them to share some of those things. A lot of things as men, a lot of things we carry around with, especially if we have high pressure jobs. I'm not saying women don't, but if you have a high pressure job and things are tough at work, and then you come home, you holding all of that in because you don't share it because you feel like, why should I tell my wife she can't do anything about
Right.
it?
And I'm a
So
man.
I'm not-
This is
and
what
I'm
I'm
a man, I'm
supposed to
supposed
do.
to- right.
Or
And then-
even a woman, vice versa.
Right.
You know,
I mean, it could
but-
go either way, but I'm just speaking from a man's perspective
Right.
because I know it pretty well. I mean,
Mhm.
I've been doing it for a little bit. So
Old man.
a man, yeah.
Old man.
Old man. Yeah. I done went through
Go.
different phases of manhood.
Okay.
So you just want to make sure that you're being open and vulnerable as best you can. I mean, like you got to take baby steps because we don't know how to be vulnerable because we've been taught the whole time is to be strong, not to cry, not to show emotions, all of that stuff.
I know for Jason and I, and I'm glad you mentioned that.
Mhm.
You know, I could tell. Okay, hold on.
If you don't deal with it, it will manifest and deal with you and your partner.
Yep.
said that?
Lava Inc.
All
Wow,
right.
yes.
All right.
Hey,
Hey, Lava.
Lava,
Thanks for
welcome.
tuning in.
Yep.
That's right.
It will.
Dennis
It will.
is saying, I was hurt and lost in the ending of my last relationship, but through mirror work, I have learned it was the experience I needed to finally take accountability for my own actions and not blame someone else. As I have learned, it starts with me first.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, thank you for sharing, Dennis. And
Yes.
that's so true. And that's part of what our book is about, right?
Yep.
When we take accountability for our actions in the way that we need to, not the way someone else thinks that we should deal with them.
Right.
A lot of people say, well, you should take accountability for your actions. But what does that mean?
Yep.
That means that you have an idea, right? Level of understanding and your interpretation, right?
Mhm.
Your awareness of what that means to you. But if I have to come to grips and change my mindset and change what I need about me, that does not fall into the category that I have to take accountability in your way.
Right.
Accountability means I have to take account. I have to do the mirror work.
Yep.
I have to say what's right or wrong because if I'm trying to please everybody in their interpretation of what accountability is,
You're never gonna be happy.
I'll be accountable for what everybody else is
Yes.
going on in their life and what they're carrying around instead of what I'm actually doing. And that's where a fine line is because sometimes we want to judge according to our level of understanding or the experiences that we've had, which
Mhm.
it may not even be that. So when we're talking about accountability, we're talking about you doing the mirror work. Dennis had to do the mirror work, right? You had to figure out and become aware of what it is that wasn't working for you. And that's what we're
That's what
talking
I'm talking
about when, and so I was getting ready to make the comment.
Mhm.
I know when Jason goes to work, well, when he used to go to work and come home stressed,
Mhm.
and I could tell, and I would say, well, what's wrong? He would say
Nothing.
and so, but the energy he was giving off, I could tell there was something, but he didn't want to share because he felt it was unimportant,
Right.
right? Well, it's not important, but it is important because it's
Because now
obvious.
it's affecting our household.
It is bothering
and our
you.
relationship.
And so women get upset because they think, well, he doesn't want to share.
Right.
Well, it must be something. Or I'll say, well, tell me about it. He'd be like, no, and his, or I just wouldn't ask, but I could tell.
Mhm.
And so he would walk around and it would totally encompass his whole demeanor. His whole energy was just off. It
Mhm.
was off from the person that I knew, and he didn't want to share. And it wasn't because he didn't want to share with me. It was because in his mind, the issues of the day are at work. I don't want to bring them home.
Exactly. But
And
you end up bringing them home.
exactly.
And because it affects your whole being. And when it affects your whole being, I'm not the same person when I walk through the door. And then our interaction are
then
different.
shifted. Exactly. And then when I tried to express to him that it was important for us to talk about it because it was affecting his energy, his attitude, his whole being,
Yep.
he was like, well, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, which then now the problem of work is now a problem here because now I'm getting upset because he
Yeah.
doesn't want to talk about it. But in his mind, as a man, this is just something I have to do.
Yeah.
This is just something I have to deal with.
Right.
Not truly understanding that maybe I'm
With
not
help.
the person
Right.
that you need to speak to, but you definitely need to speak to someone, or you need to become vulnerable enough where you can say, hey, this is a safe space. I can share my feelings with my partner,
Right.
right?
So-
I can actually come home and say, hey, you know what? This person pissed me off today, or I had this pressure and this pressure and this pressure, and sometimes it just gets to be a lot. My boss is on me. I'm a manager. I got all these things. I got the bills. I got the kids. I got you. And to a man, it
Yeah.
sounds like you're complaining and you're a woman, right? It sounds,
Yep.
feminine like.
Yeah.
But we talk about in chapter 12 the law of gender. Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry, guys. Technology is always doing its thing.
Of course.
So in chapter 12, we talk about the law of gender. And the law of gender says what? That we must have a balance,
That's right. Feminine and masculine energy.
which means that
Energy.
we must be aggressive, but we also need to know how to be empathetic and compassionate. And that's just not for women, that's for everyone.
Yes.
All right. So what do we then let's move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. Let's talk about what everyone has been waiting for,
What's
especially
that?
me.
What's that? Let's get on to the next topic.
Yeah, we're talking about that sex, baby.
All right, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things sex can be. Let's talk about sex. And that's not my song. That is from Salt and Pepper song. Let's talk about sex. So, yes, people talk about sex because let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
Passion fades. I don't care how long you've been. You could be together a week or two, a year. Passion fades. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, it
Sex
does.
becomes a chore. Men want it more, and women feel like they
What?
just can do without it sometimes.
I don't,
This
I'm-
is the
I
truth.
don't understand
I know
that.
you don't
I
because
don't
you're a man.
understand that.
We
I
just
don't
talked
understand-
about
I don't understand
feminine-
the chore part, first of all.
Well, my ladies out there, if you're watching, can you please explain to Jason why
Yeah.
women feel like sex sometimes can be a chore instead of enjoyment?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, enlighten a brother on that.
Enlighten a brother. We sometimes feel we could do without it. Sometimes we use sex as a weapon.
Now,
It's not,
now
it's
you
not
do
a
that.
tool.
Nah,
Who we talking about?
huh?
you-
No, I'm speaking about my friend.
So women sometimes can use sex. People sometimes can use sex
Men
as
do that too.
a weapon,
Mhm.
right? Or teasing mechanism because
Sure.
if we're upset, we know there's certain things that we can put on or say or flaunt or do that's going to arouse our mate. So it's a teasing mechanism, right? It could be a peace offering, as we talked about, and it can make up for stupid A mistakes that we think will work because now that we've had sex, they won't surface again. So we made a stupid mistake, they surface, and now we're gone. We keep moving, right?
Okay.
And we know the biggest thing about
Mhm.
sex is that everybody uses it because sex sells, right?
Right.
So we get up sex. I don't, they say sex sales. Maybe they mean sexual energy because
Oh, it definitely sells. Right.
if
'Cause
there
it-
is nobody's having sex, but I ain't lying that they might as well because they're showing everything that could possibly be shown
Yep.
with like
Because
what else
it
is
has-
there?
it is
You're having
shown-
mind sex with the body.
It has been shown that the less clothes you put on, the more you can sell.
Or I don't anyway. I'm gonna keep going with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's go back.
right.
Hold on. Yep.
Lava Ink saying timing is everything.
Oh, so-
okay,
so-
Lava, are we talking about why sex is a chore?
Right.
I'm gonna ask you, and what else? I'm gonna need you to go a little deeper. That was kind of
Right.
like a surface level answer.
Yeah, timing.
Timing.
Because I feel like if my wife's love language is physical touch, the timing is right. Right? Like if I touch you, that's a prerequisite.
Prerequisite for
Yeah.
sex?
I'm in my mind.
No, that
It's not?
means no because Lava just told you.
It's
Ti-
timing.
It's timing.
Oh, I
you can
can't- okay,
touch me, but this
listen, no.
may not be the time for the sex. But he thinks, hey, if I touched you, that means
It's time. It's time.
so we're not
Okay,
even
okay, so
forget the body
Who's
language.
keeping the clock? Because I want to know what's the time. I just want to know what the rules of the game.
So man, that sex thing is something else.
right.
So I don't think that we can even, like, the conversation of sex this is a conversation that can go on and
sure.
on and on with so many different, it's like an octopus. It has so many different legs and extensions, and it just goes on and on and on and on. Right? Because everybody has an interpretation of what is sex, just like they have an interpretation like what is intimacy.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is.
But
I don't think we should be using it as a peace offering or
But
a
that's what happens. So
weapon.
we're
I know.
talking right.
Yeah,
So when
I
we're
know they
talking
do.
about understanding what it is in your relationship
Mhm.
and using it for its sole purpose, right? We often get confused. We confuse sex with what? With lust,
Yep.
with passion.
Mm,
Like if we're
oh.
having sex, it must be passionate. We confuse it with love,
Yep.
right? And
Right.
and just like the octopus, the list goes on and on and on. What we
True.
confuse sex with. Sex. So can somebody? Oh, okay.
Yes, take time to relate and connect with your partner out of the bed before you connect in the bed.
Yep.
Is
that's
that
true.
lava?
Lava.
That was
That's
that
lava.
deeper. So,
Yep.
so
That's
she's
exactly
telling,
it.
she's
That's
telling,
the time. I got you.
That's the timing. That's the timing. And so actually,
So that's the whole part of me touching and rubbing and feeling and all of that other stuff, right?
it is. But if you don't do it outside the bed,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. That's what
no, you got to do that, and it's not connected. It doesn't mean just because you touch me that we're immediately going to go to the bed.
So there's a time limit. There's a
No,
what?
there's a is when you're having sex. Is there a time limit?
No.
Okay, so it shouldn't be a time limit when I'm having sex. That's sex outside of the bed. That for women. So you touch me,
I
you
see
feel
what you
me,
did
you
right there.
grope me, you grope,
I see.
No,
I see-
let me be clear. Don't grope me. No, don't grope me.
I see what you just did right there. Okay. All right. I walked into that one.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So, somebody tell me, what is sex? Anybody, somebody, drop it in. Dennis, Lava, Dot, Darlene, somebody, anybody out there, Sandra.
Somebody
Tell me what sex is. I want to hear. I want you guys to join the conversation. Help Jason and I have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Yeah, help a brother out here. Because now I understand there's a time. All right.
Then it's saying, and sex can become a soul connection, good and bad. Sometimes sex distracts from the true connection between two people.
All right,
Yeah,
all right,
that's so
good
true.
answer,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
answer.
yeah.
All right, Lava, I know you got something. You always got something. Come on, Lava. Any more comments? Come on, guys.
So you know what? That's true, because when you're having a lot of sex, it can hide some of the issues that you have in your relationship.
And you think that they're not really issues until you stop having sex. Like my famous quote is, sex does not make the relationship, but sex will break your relationship, which means that once you stop connecting
Yep.
physically,
Right.
you're really disconnected emotionally, spiritually. Like
All
you're
the other pillars start to fall.
you're just really
Mhm.
roommates. You're going through the motion,
Right.
and you're saying you're mates, but you're not really mates, because I want some more answers to come in for sex. Somebody just tell them, and tell them your friend said. If you don't want to say it, say, well, my friend said sex is this. So come on, guys, give me some answers. What is sex? Don't go looking it up. I want your version. I want your level of consciousness and understanding in what is sex. Any comments?
Yeah, just like Dennis said, it's soul searching, right? It's soul connection. Right.
It can be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's saying sex is supposed to be something special between couples, but should not be the most important part of the relationship.
It should not be.
So when people go out there and pay for sex, what is that? Is that a soul connection?
Well, that's different. It depends on their soul.
So that's
It all depends on their soul,
I'm not
but
even
whatever their
listening.
soul needs, right? So
so the purpose. All right, got another comment?
Yep.
You got to push on?
yeah, you
Okay.
good.
Don Weber saying, sorry I'm late. It is an exchange of energy. Cameron Nicole saying, sex is the complex mix of feelings, often including excitement, pleasure, intimacy, and connection that can arise during sexual activity or in anticipation of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Good answer. Good answer,
So,
guys.
yes,
good
yeah,
answer.
good
Come on,
answer.
give me some more. Give
Yes,
me some more.
yes.
Let's have this table talk conversation. Come
Wait,
on,
wait,
give
who
me
was the last? Who's the last comment
Comment?
from?
Cameron Nicole.
All right,
Oh,
thank you,
hey,
Cameron,
Cameron.
Nicole.
Thank you for
tuning
popping in.
Thank
We
you for your
appreciate
reply.
you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so,
Don, it's good to see you. Don't worry about it. You can always catch the replay.
right. So
Darlene saying, sex is what bonds us together, but you should not take for granted. Sandra saying sex is a form of release, all caps.
I love Sandra.
Thank you, Sandra.
Yes, keeping
Sandra,
it real.
Sandra, I
Yes.
just want to know, are you releasing? No, I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
Yeah. Yes.
So I also noticed, since we're having this conversation, I also noticed, and this was maybe, got a comment.
Lava saying sex, a spiritual, creative connection of being one with your partner.
Oh, that is so
Love
true.
it. Good answer.
Yes, I
Good.
love
I
that.
love
Yes.
it. I love it when you guys engage. I love it. I love it. So, early on in our relationship, because Jason,
let me take a drink. Shoot.
so we've been married 33 and 3/4 of years, right?
Yeah.
33.3, so 33 and a third. And somewhere around 15, right? So I
Oh.
would, 15 years, of course it gets a little old, it gets a little stale. And
Okay.
I noticed that Jason would get really grumpy. and low key, guys, low key, don't tell my kids.
Don't tell
my-
your kids. Don't tell me.
My young men, they get this way too. But I noticed he would get a little grumpy if we didn't have sex for like maybe 3-4 days, 5 days.
One.
More, Lord have mercy. If
One
if
day?
we had 6 or 7 days, all right.
Then it's saying, well, paying for sex is also a soul connection, even if it's not something that has a meaningful connection. It's very dangerous to have sex with random people just for pleasure.
Yeah, that's true. But like
So
I
you
said,
think it's a soul-
however,
so
however
when-
your soul needs to be
So
fed.
you out there sharing your soul with every old body.
Some people do that. Some people do.
So is that what they mean by selling your soul to the devil? Could be.
Could be.
All right. So what I was saying is that I noticed that Jason would get like out of his, like he would just be grumpy for no reason. And then
Oh, I was grumpy.
we would have sex.
Mhm.
No, right? Just the sex.
Mhm.
And he would just be so nice and loving. And I was like, that thing is really like before I just never noticed it.
I became a test subject over here. Didn't
And
even
so-
realize it. Okay.
Right. So sex has so many different variations. And some people say, well, sex is so that you can have, as we said, a soul connection, or it's for the sole purpose of reproducing.
Yeah.
Right? God created
Well,
sex,
we did
intercourse,
that.
right?
So you took care of that.
So that people, the whole point was to reproduce.
Right.
That's
Right.
the
That's the-
intention of
right.
it, right? To have sex is to
to grow the
reproduce.
family.
You're supposed to bond as we all of these
Mm-hmm.
answers say. You bond, you connect, you become one. You spiritually you connect and
Right.
you're on a deeper level. And so when we're talking about sex in our relationships,
Mm.
is it entailing all of those things that we said sex is?
Mm.
Ask yourself,
Ooh.
is it passion or is it just
sex?
sex? Is it lustfulness? Is it my mate is lusting after someone else and then they're in the bed with me having sex? Is it that we're not having sex, but our minds, body, and souls are not connected? They're disconnected.
Mhm.
So we're tying in the intimacy, the connection, the sex. Let's reel it all in. Let's
Okay.
get back to what is it that we need in our relationships.
Are you? Oh, I got this. I
Mhm.
don't mean to cut you off, but are you
But you
present? Okay, hold on.
Irving Miller saying Mia in the home. And Bobby Richard Moore saying Moore's checking in or checked in.
All right,
Mia
welcome.
in the home. Thank you, Mia. I think she meant Mia in the house.
Mhm.
Thank you, Irving, for letting Mia be in the house. And thank you, the Moores, checking in
Yep.
more. All right,
Don
thank you,
Weber
guys.
saying, wait, since I can't have kids anymore, my time's up? Question mark.
No.
No.
That's what it tells us that sex was supposed to be for. Sex was supposed to be a process where two people come together for the sole purpose of reproduction.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So sex has evolved on its own to whatever it is because we say sex sells. And the whole intention is, my whole purpose, as my husband cut me off, was let's first realize what is sex to us.
Mm-hmm.
What is sex? When your mate says, I want to have sex, what do they mean?
Right.
Do they mean the act? Do they mean the connection? Do they mean
The intimacy.
what does it mean?
Right.
So we can't talk about sex and have sex without having a clear, defined understanding of what is sex to me and what is sex to my partner. Because when I told Jason I needed intimacy, his idea went straight to sex,
Right.
right? when he tells me he needs more intimacy, my thing is, okay, I'm going to hold him more. I'm going to touch him more. I'm going to
No,
caress him.
I can tell you right now, that's a wrong answer. I'm telling you now.
So we have to, in order to get our relationships to where they are working for us, when we talk about no one size fits all,
Right.
this is what we're talking about. Having those vulnerable, different conversations.
Right.
Right? Because when we first get together, the sex is usually good, but we need more as time goes on.
Right.
Does,
If you expect to make it.
Does intimacy mean role playing? Does your mate need role playing? And how do you express that? Does connection mean, hey, rub my feet? That's how I feel loved. It's more than just a love language, but it's how does it show up?
Right. What
Right.
does it look like? Wait, what does intimacy look like for you in your relationship?
What does connection look like?
Right.
What does sex look like?
Don saying all of that. Dennis saying, I'm guilty also, Jason. And Nancy is in the home too.
All right,
Well,
Nancy.
welcome to the conversation.
Nancy and Mia, you guys came to the home late. Can you please put in the comment section, what is sex to you? We're just getting everybody's
Right.
conversation. Oh, the Moors, drop a line. Oh, Don. Oh, Don gave me my
Don,
answer.
yeah.
Don gave an answer for,
Don
okay.
did.
So come on, guys, let me hear what sex is. And we're just having this conversation. So
Right. To
I
you.
think, right. So we're just going to wrap it up. But just the whole point of this is, let's make sure that when we're manifesting a
Yes.
joy-filled relationship, the joy is on both sides, right?
Well, that's
I-
the only way it's going to work. I mean, the joy has to be there, especially if you're talking about sex. Everyone should get something out of it. It shouldn't be a one-way street.
But we have to understand. So if my partner wants physical action in the bed,
right.
I'm going to have to be able to have a conversation, not just telling them,
Right.
but I'm going to be able to make sure that their level of understanding, comprehension, we're talking about comprehension,
Yep.
their level of consciousness is where mine is at, so that we're both on the same level. That's when we ask, and what else? We're going to say the and what else?
Yeah.
So this means this to me. So you say that your partner says, I need more intimate. You say,
Okay.
so, and what else? What does that mean?
Right.
What does that entail? Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper, guys. Let's stop having surface level relationships. If we want deep connections and we want deep relationships, we got to go deeper. We have to have, and sometimes they are the hard conversations, because sometimes people, men or women, they don't want to talk about it. They want you to read their minds. Well, what do you think it means? Hey, some people
I've been there.
need oral sex and some need none.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some people need, we
Kinky
had
stuff
we
that-
had a sex I forgot what she called us, what her title was, but a
Uh-huh.
sex guru
Mhm.
on the show years back, and she said there are literally thousands of ways to have orgasms. You can have a nipple orgasm. You can have a foot orgasm. You can have a rub, like she was talking about all these
different.
you could,
But
you know.
that takes
Okay,
a
here's
lot
a
of.
comment. All right.
Richard is in the building.
What?
All right,
Rich?
Richard,
Welcome,
Richard,
Richard.
Rich.
All right.
All right.
Mr. Nancy says intimacy is what you need at the moment. It's not always the same thing, but sex is sex.
Okay.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
Intimacy is what you need, but sex is just sex.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I
All
get
right.
it.
Darlene says sex to me is a bond between two peoples that should be married and love each other. They should be married and love each other.
Yeah.
Lava is saying love that makes sure the joy is on both sides.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
yes.
So we often forget, but this is the key, guys.
And never
If
weapon.
go ahead.
I was gonna say never weaponize sex.
That's
absolutely.
Jason's opinion. Never weaponize sex.
Yeah.
You talking for a friend?
I am talking for a friend because I don't have that problem.
I don't. I
Right.
don't either.
Right. No,
Maybe
I'm
it-
just saying, but don't. And it just made me think of that
Mhm.
when we were talking about, it's enjoyable to both parties. Don't weaponize it. Don't use it as a bargaining chip. I mean, that's not what it's all about, right? If you
Exactly.
have a deficiency in your relationship, talk about it, hash it out, but don't use sex as one of those bargaining tools.
Because what happens is that sex becomes the distance
Yep.
between you.
Yep.
It becomes the gap that grows bigger. So then when you
Yeah.
do have sex, the connection
You're
is not the same.
disconnected. You're
exactly.
just going through the act, because sex is much more than the act. I mean, believe me, you can have sex and then you can have connection and then sex. It's a totally different feeling. So you want to be able to
Or
be
you
connected.
can also F, right?
Yeah.
Some people say sex is F,
Yeah.
right? So let's F. And so people say, okay, let's F. But is that sex? Is that connection? Is that what Dennis was talking about when you go pay and you give a little bit of your soul to everybody you F, right?
And that's it. And that's it, right? You're done. You're out of there, right?
But so what I was going to say is that when we're talking about on both sides, if I know that Jason needs more connection, more sex, more actual physical act, right? Then he has to know what I need. And that's what I mean by the joy on both sides. That's what makes sex enjoyable. That's what makes the intimacy stronger. That's what makes the connection deeper. All of these things are intertwined. Everything we do is connected. What we think, what we feel, what we emit, what we vibrate, all these things are connected. So we're just saying this to make sure that you're on the same page.
Come on.
Because oftentimes we are in a different book, in a different paragraph, on a different line than our mate.
Yep.
And we think because we're saying it, they're getting it. I'm telling you, y'all not even in the same book. So we have
a
to.
lot of times.
Yeah, right.
Don Weber saying, I agree with Jason. Weapons can backfire.
Yep.
And that's where we're talking about resentment, right? Right now I'm upset. I don't want to have sex because I'm mad.
Right.
Well, okay.
Cameron Nicole saying, doesn't sex naturally get weaponized if the couple isn't on the best of terms?
And that's what Jason was saying.
And the reason why you're not on the best of terms is because you're weaponizing sex, right?
Or so like he said, you just said
you having disagreements in another part, but you're using sex as the weapon.
And you just said if you're something when you said that, so don't weaponize because you're having something.
Yeah, you're having other problems in other areas of your.
You didn't say it like that, but yeah, right.
So yeah,
that's
just
actually an indication.
Right.
That is a red flag. So if you are weaponizing sex, that is a red flag that there's other issues going on besides sex.
Right.
If you feel like sex is a chore, if you feel like you don't want to be intimate with your partner, if you and your partner are not intimate, Ron, we're talking about long-term relationships, baby. This is real.
Yep.
This is real. When we're talking about, baby, it gets to a point where we have couples that haven't had sex for at least 10 years. And there's no judgment. There's no judgment because if we don't do the maintenance, it will happen.
Yep.
Sandra Robinson saying, y'all on fire. And Bobby saying, preach.
Thank you,
Dennis saying, yes, I learned that lesson the hard way. Sex doesn't make the relationship or connection stronger in the relationship to last through every aspect of the lifetime of the relationship. Sex is a feeling, not an emotional or mental connection.
Sure isn't.
And so we are, I'm going to say this and then we're going to go on. We're going to get on out of here. Don't forget, this is the month of love.
Yes.
And love is not an emotion. I want you guys to understand that.
Right.
Love is not an emotion. It is often related to an emotion, but it's not an emotion.
Nope.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for make sure you replay, share, tag some people in it. Make sure you make some more comments. If you guys think of something afterwards, go back to it and make sure you do it. All right?
Yep. So if you guys could just hit the like, follow, subscribe, whatever you add on whatever platform, just make sure you do what you need to do to follow us. We appreciate that. And then make sure that you do that so you don't miss any upcoming episodes, and tell a friend, a family member, or just share it with someone that you know that can benefit from this good information.
That may be in need and
Right.
is always complaining about their relationship,
I
and they
can
may actually need some tools.
I can guarantee you they need some help in the little sex area. I can tell you that. Right?
All right.
All right. So if you and your partner can have that actual conversation, it can lead to change, right? Or if you can't, right, then you have a problem. Like I said, then you start weaponizing sex and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
So if you really want to start the ball rolling and to engage, get the 20 questions. They're the 20 emotional intimacy essential questions. Why do I keep saying that? It's
That's what we created. So
Right.
get our 20. Can you hear me? Because I can't hear myself. Okay.
You can't
It's
hear
the-
yourself talking?
No, I think
can hear you.
okay. So I hope you guys can hear me too. So
Yeah.
we have created the 20 emotional intimacy essential questions
Yes.
to help you
You
to go
deeper
and what else
and understand.
to help you
Right.
understand and what else to understand the things that you need to know that maybe you and your partner have not discussed or didn't even know that you needed to discuss because you're already in the relationship, or to start your relationship even better. No, you can always start from where you are.
So things that came up in this week in a coaching session was, I don't know what I don't know. So sometimes you don't even know how to explain things that you don't even know that you don't know. So Just make sure you kind of understand or get this and understand what's going on in your relationship. So if you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers.
So tell them where they can go to get the 20 questions.
You can get the 20 questions at legendaryrelationship.com/EI.
All right.
And also, go ahead.
Dennis saying, no, don't go. This episode is on fire.
All
Dot
right.
saying, have a blessed evening,
Wait,
everyone.
don't you guys
weekend.
leave yet.
All right,
Wait, we got something else to tell you. Don't leave yet. We're winding down. Don't leave yet. Tell them where they
Darlene
can
saying, thank you. I got a lot out of this. Regina Blake Nee saying, my virgin ears enjoy the conversation.
All right.
That's what I'm
Thank you,
talking about. Thank you.
Regina. Welcome to the
Yes.
conversation. My girl, Regina. Shout out to
she's
Regina.
always here. We appreciate you, Regina. We
All right.
appreciate all of you.
Dennis saying, I can't wait till the next episode.
Okay.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere because we do have something we want to tell you. Jason,
Mm-hmm.
tell a commentator, can you tell them where they can reach us? Contact us.
Got you. Before that, Bobby saying, yes, tell me. Don saying, me either. Cameron Nicole saying, I agree with Dennis.
So do I. This is my guy.
That's right.
You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at Legendary Relationship. You can also listen to our podcast, Loving Beyond the I Do, wherever you get your podcasts delivered. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart Podcasts, or YouTube. Or go to our website, legendaryrelationship.com, and click on Podcasts.
Hello. Darlene saying, I really enjoyed this episode.
Oh, great. We appreciate
All
you.
right. Thank you, Darlene. So here we started a new feature, and it's called Keeping Up with Legendary Relationships. So
Keep it up.
that's right. So
Yeah.
so you'll be in the know where we're going, where
It's a lot of moving parts.
where Jason and Tina Marie will be.
Yeah.
So we are featured on the Relationship Factor podcast, episode number 67. You can go to Spotify to find the link or you can find the link we shared on Facebook. We had a post. You can share it. You can listen to it there.
Can you bring that slide up? This, relationship factor.
The Relationship Factor, don't you take that way?
The relationship factor.
The Relationship
Yeah.
Factor page on episode number 67. All right,
yeah.
that is the post. You can click on that post and go listen to it on Spotify, or you can listen to it wherever you get podcasts. Right,
Yep.
this is the audio.
Yep.
All right, we can take that off. Now you can also, we want you to listen Monday through Friday. So you can listen to www.hitUSAradio.com at 4:00 p.m. every Monday through Friday and listen to the In It to Win It relationship segment
That's right.
on the Tommy Guns Bridging the Gap Artist Spotlight. Right? We are on there answering the viewers' questions. So relationship questions.
Yep.
All right? And then next Friday, guys,
Come
Friday,
on
here's
now.
an opportunity.
Yes.
You can be in the house with us.
Come
That's
on
right.
with it.
You can be in the house with us. We will be live on location at Raise Up Barber Spa at 11901. If you want to say that, do you want to?
No, go bring up the slide for me.
All right. We will be
At the Raise Up.
Barber Spa at 11901 East 79th Street, which is a quaint, full-service,
Quaint.
boutique-ish barbershop
We going-
where you can get your dopest haircut,
Come on
an
now.
ultimate
I can't-
shampoo,
I can't wait.
hot lathers shave, and luxury spa manicures and pedicures.
Oh, we
It's
getting it
black-owned,
done, guys.
black minority, and and woman-owned business.
Yes.
We will see you there. Jason and I will be getting our medis and petties done while
Right.
we're coming on live.
Right.
You
And
can call and set your appointment or stop by and be part of the cocktails and conversations. We are talking relationships in the house.
We're
That's
kicking
next Friday at 6:00 p.m. We can talk sex. We can talk intimacy. We can talk whatever you want to talk about.
Come on.
You guys can be in the house. And if you don't want to show your face, just say you're asking for a friend.
friends always need help, and we have to be there
Right?
for the
Say,
friends.
I got this friend, and
Yep.
then we'll take it like that.
Exactly. And also, we'll be selling books at each live event. So on location, we'll have books for sale as well. So bring a friend by, grab yourself a copy.
And I wish I had the week after that. We will also be on location, but I don't have the name of the spot or the address. But stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Mhm.
All right. So until next time, remember, Love is a choice, not just a chance. Don't settle anymore for mediocrity. Get what you want and you need for your relationship to thrive.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, guys. We truly enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
And thank you for your input. I mean, it's been wonderful. We really appreciate that. Hey, do me one other favor. Can you grab that slide that has review? I need you guys to, you guys that's out there, can you go to legendaryrelationship.com/manifest review, or you can just click on the QR code
in the back of the book.
In the back of the book, or on the screen now. I think it's page 300. You can scan that and just leave a review for us, right? So we're asking everybody to read a review. So I know that you guys are starting to digest the book and stuff like that, and we really appreciate it. But, excuse me, this is how we can move it along on Amazon so other people can find the value in it.
So we are Amazon bestseller. We need the reviews to come in. We have gotten so many reviews personally, or even like people say it to us, but we need you to go and actually do the review on Amazon.com. Go to the book on Amazon and please leave a review.
Honest review.
As Jason said, there's a QR code. We made it real simple for you.
Simple.
We put it in the back of the book right there. Go scan it and leave a review.
Yep. All right, so I think that's it. Did we cover everything? We got on location for the next couple of weeks. We'll be on location. I don't know. It may be a while before we're back in the studio. And also, we have some guests lined up that's coming in. There's going to be some hot shows on Friday, right? Even on Wednesday, too. So we have a lot of stuff coming at you. We're going to be on a lot of podcasts. We're going to be in a lot of media. So just keep up with us.
That's right.
A lot of things coming.
We're going to try to let you know where we're going to be and what we're going to do so you guys can be in the house with us.
Yes. All right. So that ends another fantastic episode. And why was it fantastic? Because you guys participated. We really appreciate that. So until next time, and here on the Love and Beyond the I Do podcast, we are the dynamic duo in relationships. And as always,
let's say it with us. Say it with us, guys.
We're in it to win it. Till next week, guys. Peace.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Lovin' Beyond the I Do podcast. Head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Legendary Relationship, or visit our website at legendaryrelationship.com. Till next time, remember to make every day count.